Bitcoin's going to have a lot of sell pressure because of S&P 500's nasty closure Friday, September 2nd. I talked about that heavily, I mentioned it too much in my video from Thursday, September 1st. And we're going to discuss what the S&P 5 closure was, why it was bad, how it's going to affect Bitcoin. And then next second in the video, I'm going to tell you what two main tools that you can look at in specific timeframes and the exact tools to look at so you can tell if Bitcoin is going to be able to manage going sideways, which I invented that word last video, sideways, or if it's going to break down. And over the next week, if it can go sideways under those conditions. Third in this video, I'm going to show you specifically what you're going to look for using those same two tools in order for Bitcoin to have a chance to rally up. Are you ready? Let's go get it. Wouldn't it be awesome to be able to check Bitcoin price by going to YouTube and seeing all of my exact key levels neatly labeled at any moment in time? Well, that's what I offer to my Discord community. It's one of the many things I offer to my Discord community and the Cryptillion YouTube tier. I'm going to, after when you're seeing this video, this should be up in live for all of YouTube, but Monday through Friday, even though today's Friday, but it's Friday evening, Monday through Friday, it's only available to Discord and YouTube Cryptillion tier. On Monday, it's available to the loyalty YouTube tier as well. But this is honestly, I mean, just imagine, instead of checking coin market cap or, you know, all your nasty drawings that you might have, because it's hard to have pretty charts. I give you the exact key levels. I label what they are. 4-hour 10. The daily 10 was in play. I had this neatly labeled. Guess what rejected price today? Boom. And I had this extremely neatly labeled back over here with a nice price chart of saying where I think this is going to go down. It almost got it to the dollar, right? So at any time, if you want to go ahead and be able to check price this way and allow me to look at the charts so you don't have to, so you can just literally tune in. Hell, you could fall asleep with this running on your television with some nice Zen music, the music that you hear behind me now. All right. I put streamer music onto it, and my community is really liking being able to just have it on their TV and check it whenever they want. Pass by TV. Okay, yeah, it's below this level. Okay, it ain't going anywhere. Or hey, you know, it's below the origin line and the, you know, and the top of the channel line, which are, you know, that's not cleanly labeled. There's the top of the channel line. Okay, great. You know, we're good to go. My shorts are in business. Or if it starts using, you know, if you're in short positions and the price gets above, these 15-minute candles get above the 4-hour 10 EMA, then you know to start wiggling out. Positions, not financial advice. So I offer that. And again, if you're not one of the Discord or a community member, it's going to be free this weekend. So try to check price this way. Just try it out, see what it's like. And I'm offering the service for you all because I really want to help people in their crypto journey. All right, so where are we going to start in this video? Let's take a look at the S&P 500 closure. I'm not going to rant and rave on it because I already covered what would be bearish, and it's clearly bearish. So let's dive into that first. And again, you got to stay tuned to the end because I'm going to show you what exactly you need to see and on specifically what tool that you could throw on your own chart in order to even have a chance for Bitcoin and crypto price to go up. All right, so the US 500 is the chart that I recommend because it runs 23 hours a day, 5 days a week, similar to futures. And let's go ahead and take this off. So this was from my day one. This is some information from my daily update, something I also provide for my tier. This is one of the 3 or 4 updates from today. So I let folks know, okay, if it breaks above this, and again, I made this before this happened. All right. So actually, let's bring this up. Take a look. Here's some daily updates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, nope, it was as it was happening. I lied, or I was just mistaken. All right, so I made that alert right as this was happening. So I let folks know, hey, this chart is going to get crypto direction correct. Bullish if above here, neutral if between these 2 points, right? Neutral in the middle zone. Neutral leaning bearish if inside here, and then bearish if breaks below, all right? And that was one of 4 updates, so my community knows roughly the general direction of what price is getting ready to do. From my last video, I mentioned if price closes below this blue line, it's likely going to be considered a bad closure. I was struggling to define what's a bad closure, but it's both below the 4-hour 10 EMA, which it was using as support in order to bust above this blue line. And what is this blue line? It goes way back. See that blue line? It's that blue line right here. That guy. All right. This line is old. So it's not just a blue line from local price action, right? So it not only closed below that blue line and just slammed through it, but it closed way below the one EMA, the thing that was holding, that gave it the power essentially to bust above the blue line, which is older. And it's below both of them. I didn't expect it to be quite that bearish. I was thinking it would at least go below, use as rejection, and then it would be really bearish after it broke below that low like this. So, and that's one thing that one of my VIPs said today that it's kind of useful. It's honestly, candle closures, like 4-hour daily below line, it really doesn't work anymore. It's just used to trap you. The closures are. It's more microstructure like this. And I bet if I zoomed into this part right where my invisible finger is, right where my hand is, I think on the 1 minute chart, it probably did this shape. All right, so let's take a look. But this is what I'm doing now is relevant to crypto as well. I mean, anytime you're looking for confirmation of something, yeah, it is. It did do it. So let me take off the 4-hour 10. So it came below it so this is the 1 minute chart. So the time that you knew things were going to really heat up to the downside came below the blue line, used it as rejection on this candle right here. That is when you know that it has a strong chance of accelerating to the downside, because this is the low it formed as it crossed this, right? So you always, or to the upside, it doesn't matter. So if price had gone to the upside, more important than a 4-hour or daily candle closure above this line is when it goes above, it makes a high, then it comes down to retest support. And when you get like breakout, higher volume type of stuff is often when you break above the local high formed right there. And it can happen on the 1 minute chart, the 1 hour, but usually between those two smaller time frames is when you see that kind of stuff happen. Here, you have to go down to the 1 or 3, even maybe 3 minute. More like the 1 minute. The 1 minute so it happened very, very quickly. This is honestly a horrible closure, and it's going to spill over into Bitcoin. I don't see how next week can be much better than slideways. Slideways meaning it's just sliding across the chart. It could be, it could slide up a little bit in sideways. It could slide down. But for this weekend, though, I don't think crypto has much of a chance to go to do slideways in the up fashion. I think best case, I would assume the most probable case is for a good weekend is sideways, not just slideways up, but sideways. But this weekend could get pretty bloody for Bitcoin, especially when the order books are thin. And if whales know that they're going to drive stocks down on Tuesday after this holiday, they could front run it on crypto. It could because the order books get nice and thin especially on holiday weekends. Like you could find Bitcoin down at I'm not saying this is the most probable. What I'm about to say is going to be it's like doomsday, but it seriously could be. It could touch 14,700 this week. It's possible because the order books are going to be real thin. And in conjunction with, it's possible a sell-off is going to accelerate to the downside next week. And a big money already knows that. What better time to crash crypto and make money off of it? Especially since during this move up, they were able to activate a bunch of shorts that they already had in place in crypto on this move up with particularly Bitcoin and Ethereum. Whew, man, it could get bloody, but that's not my most probable case. But let's dive into Bitcoin now. All right, what tools do I recommend you use? I'm going to start with the 2-day chart. Let's check this out. Let's make some comparisons. I'm going to throw on what I call my short ribbons. And so this isn't necessarily the ribbons in the tool that I want you to look at, but I'm on the 2-day chart. It's the items down below. All right, these are the two tools, stochastics and RSI. I want to show you, okay, just visually, like facts in the charts that aren't good compared to the last few sideways / rallies that Bitcoin got. So Bitcoin fell down heavily, had a slight aggressive slideways, an upward sloping compression move, fell back down, compressed sideways, fell, compressed sideways, fell, compressed upwards most recently, all of July, right? All of July into early August. and then has fallen down and is going sideways. All right, so what is the difference and what are the similarities between or among this area here, and this area here versus now? All right, and we're going to use the tools below, and this will show you that, I mean, I think the charts are favoring back to the downside, but in my last video, I covered the 8-hour chart. We're gonna check that out to see if that's undone itself or if it's still hanging by a thread. But this 2-day chart for the more mid macro moves, it's looking bearish, and I want to show you why I'm saying that. All right, so during this time here, after this drop, and this is January of this year, 2022, okay, January 2022, I'm gonna start around here. So let me put a vertical line. What did this top section down here have to do in order to have a compression move that went upwards? What did this chart down here have to do? Well, let's take a look. Not only did the stochastics of the 2-day cross up, which is not hard to do, but it got above the zone where you typically have fake outs, and it got above the 20, like let's say 28 area. So if I make a horizontal here, right here, it's roughly at stochastics at about 28. And that's what triggered, from a stochastic standpoint, what allowed that compression move to keep going, right? Do you see that line? Now let's compare it to where it is right now. Look, where is this? It's not even freaking close. It's not even close, right? So that's a big difference. Now let's go to the next compression move. This compression move here did not go up very much. You only had one. So let's zoom into that part right here on the 2-day chart. You only had one decent sized move up, and again, it wicked these two. This section and this section wicked above the daily 21, which was the what I said was the best friend. You're going to be your best friend if S&P 500 closed well, but it didn't. So it's honestly out of the picture now, right? But what allowed from those things that I was showing you down below, what allowed it to even do that? Is there any similarities from what we just saw? Well, let's take a look on the 2-day chart. And again, you don't need the rainbow to do this. I just want you to see this more visually with price action. So let's take a look at, I'm going to put a pin in it, right? So this is the beginning of where the downside movement stopped, and this is where it got hot. So what happened on stochastics at that time that allowed it to finally go up a little bit as opposed to just straight sideways or down? What happened on this green line here? What happened? It got above that yellow line I just drew. So so it's not always the level 28 on all time frames. On the 1 hour, it might be 24. On the daily, it might be 26. But on the 2-day chart, the stochastics getting above the 28 line, it's the line. And so, look, it got it. I didn't plan this, but that worked out pretty perfectly. I didn't plan that at all. But it's just how price is. And you see how it even got rejected from it, made a higher low, and then busted up. And that's exactly when price went above the daily 21 to finally make an upswing move instead of a sideways move. Right? And we haven't even looked at the RSI yet. Okay? And this is just using one tool. I mean, this is easy to identify. Like, we're not even close on the 2-day chart to being allowed to go up. Right? Not even close. All right. So let's take a look. Let's move this guy over. I moved this vertical line to the end of the downside aggressive move. And now about here on this candle is when it is, actually here. It actually had a nice move up. So it had a nice move up about here. So what happened about here on the stochastics? It crossed the yellow line. How did you know? It's just like Dora the Explorer. Can you see the mochila? Can you see this freaking line? Right? Look. All right. And again, where are we now? No, are we at the yellow line? No. This cross up doesn't really mean jack shit. Maybe on a 2-week chart, Maybe it's sometimes on the weekly, but on the monthly it can actually 2 week and above. This means something, just crossing up before it gets out of the bearish control zone. But daily 2 day, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. All right, because you have to get above the fake out line, and the fake out line again for the 2 day is roughly at 28. Yeah, actually it's closer to 29. It's like 28.8 roughly. All right. Okay, now we haven't looked at the RSI yet, so let's get rid of that guy. And take a look at, so now I can get rid of the Stokes. I can make the RSI a little bit bigger, draw it up. Here we go. So we could probably look at price and the RSI simultaneously. Okay. Whew. Let's zoom out. All right. So this green line is marking the end of the downside move, right? And it got the bottom of the stochastics too, because you really don't form bullish divergence on RSI on any time frame larger than the 4 hour. I think there's only one time in Bitcoin history where there was a full strike of bullish divergence on the daily chart, and I think that was in late 2018, early 2019. You usually don't get bullish divergence that low, like this deep on the daily chart. It's 4 hour and below typically. I mean, a 1 hour, 3 strikes of bullish divergence on the 1 hour, where price makes 3 lower lows and 3 waves, and the 1 hour RSI makes 3 higher lows on RSI, that can get like 15% moves on Bitcoin. So anyway, so don't, there's no bullish, divergence. Yeah, you don't really get it. You don't actually, I bet there hasn't been a case in this type of situation in the red zone where that's happened. All right. It doesn't happen on this larger time frames. All right. Anyway, back to the point here. Things started getting hot about, at this level. So what was happening on the RSI actually, and let's do this too. This is the end of the downside move, and price got hot on this candle right there. So what happened on the second yellow line for each of these cases? The 2 day RSI was above the EMA. See this white line EMA? See that? It got above it. And it got above it and made a higher low. Okay. On the next one, did you have higher highs and higher lows before? So this is where it's screamed up, right? One higher high, or no. High, higher low, higher high, official uptrend. Second higher low, got above. That's when price went up past the daily 21 to initiate better than sideways, right? And that's the whole key to this is, I said at the beginning, I don't think Bitcoin this weekend or maybe even all next week, I think sideways is the best case, right? And I'm showing you why, right? This clearly shows you when can you do better than sideways? What conditions are met? Okay, so do we have a higher high yet? No, you don't. This high is lower than this one. Do you have a higher low yet? No, you don't. Because you don't have a high, like this isn't confirmed yet. This could just keep going like this and it breaks this low. So you have a high, a lower high, a low and a lower low, and you're not even above this. So it doesn't even have permission to go above the EMA yet because it's in lower lows and lower highs, right? On the 2 day chart. So given the last 2 compression moves, which, we're modeling this off of, what gave permission for Bitcoin to go up? Or, and permission's a weird word. What I mean is, what was happening in the charts that denoted that bigger money was going to buy up, right? What needed to happen using these tools? And we're just saying that we saw what that was, and we see that we're not even close to having it right now. We're closer on the RSI, but we're not even we're over a week away on the stochastics to get above the level 28 because it's a 2 day time frame. So to tick up just one little bit on the stochastics, it takes another 2 days, and it needs probably like 5 ticks to get up there. So the 8 hour RSI that I showed last time, it kind of gives permission for it, but this is saying it's going to break down. So let's go check what I was talking about on the 8 hour last time. So let's flip to the 8 hour chart here. And it still hasn't broken down yet. It's actually still intact. But what the 2 day is saying is that this will not continue. It's suggesting that this will break down and start making, it might not break down like this, but it's going to start going like this, and it's going to soon get trapped under the moving average, which is the white line. Could the 8 hour and, and 4 hour and the lower time frames overpower the 2 day so that the 2 day does something it didn't do last time? It just goes boom and stochastics just fly up. It is possible. That has happened, but it's simply unlikely, right? And so when you're making educated guesses on how price is going to move, your educated guess is on what's most likely in terms of probabilities and statistics. So it doesn't even look, this is the daily chart. No wonder it looks different. 2 day. Yeah. So this 2 day chart, it's very low chance that that'll happen just because the 8 hour doesn't look like it's going to overpower this bitch. See that? All right. What do you need to start seeing? So using these tools, I just showed you what needs to happen using this tool. And I told you, we now know the time frame. It doesn't look like it can happen over the weekend for sure. It might. So the 2 day chart, the RSI right behind me here, so this guy right here might have a chance late next week to have established higher highs and higher lows in order to maybe on Thursday, Friday, Saturday on a weekend to get above there and then start charging up to the daily 21, which is closer to about 21K. That's possible, but it doesn't look like you have the cards for that over the weekend. And given that's a holiday weekend with a horrible stock market closure, atrocious Friday closure with that high impact economic data, which was it was wishy-washy. It probably didn't add or subtract the probability of Jerome Powell sticking with 75 point rate hike. And I think this month or next month, don't know, maybe 20 days or whatever. So it was kind of mostly a nothing burger, but the markets reacted thinking, shit, we were hoping for some better release of economic data, hoping that it would show us Jerome Powell might only raise it by 50 points, so therefore we can rally again. But it was just a fake out because that big money already knew what the data was going to say, and all they were doing is running it up, having Yahoo News say, oh, it starts off bullish, so retail investors start buying it and just goes right into their shorts. Which they already had there because they probably, big money is probably, gets some inside information, right? Okay. That's the 2 day chart. I've showed you, and also a good guide for when this really starts breaking down is using that 8 hour RSI for a lower time frame. So if you see the RSI get under so this is the 12 EMA, I believe. It might be the 14. Yeah, it's the 12. When it gets below the 12 EMA of the RSI, and use it as resistance, that's when the 2 day is going to overpower everything. That's essential. So this ticks every 8 hours. So in 8 more hours, this will go below most likely. Then it could tick up and get rejected and then go down and then go down again. And that's over the course of the weekend. I mean, hell, that's only Saturday evening, right? Or Saturday-ish, right? Yeah, Saturday afternoon, whatever. So by Saturday afternoon, it could be down here, and it actually probably will be. It could hang out though. Sometimes the RSI can slowly, it can hover around both sides of this, but it's not common. But what you're looking for is the 8 hour RSI. And if you want the 4 hour, what you'd be looking for is, you could also, if you don't have the 8 hour chart, you could also be looking for the 4 hour chart to be doing this on the RSI as well. Something to that effect. So you could use the 4 hour RSI to front run that. However, what happens on the 4 hour RSI is it often works in loops as opposed to just these moves here. So if it breaks below a 45-degree angle, which really does work. I mean, it works. Look, see, it came up, that's a little bit less than a 45-degree angle here. But if it breaks this zone here, that's when the 8 hours RSI starts breaking down, and that is when the 2 day, is going to start taking control of stuff, and price will probably start really, really racing down. All right. Am I making sense with all of this? The tools and exactly what to look for, how to front run or how to see, how to envision how the lower time frames will give power and hand the keys to the castle back to the 2 day time frame. Because right now the 2 day is like taking a nap.
and letting its children, like, you know, go cause mayhem. The children are the smaller time frames, like the 8 hour, 4 hour, 1 hour, you know, 2 day, and the 2 day, it's just going to start waking up. And it's going to be like, you shitheads, you have Legos and food wrappers and crumbs all over the floor. They're like, put the smack down. And that smackdown could happen this week. It's just a matter of time. And I already showed you what the 2 day needs to do in order to give hopes for actually, you know, essentially reversing. It needs to form higher highs and higher lows on that 2 day RSI. That's it. And in order for it to have a chance, the 8 hour can't break down. Or the 4 hour can't go below that 45-degree angle on the RSI, or too far below there. If it goes just below it, that's when it needs to start getting back above its EMA. And if it doesn't happen, Bitcoin won't even go sideways. It's going to creep down or accelerate to the downside. All right. Now, what else? Let me show you one more thing in the chart here that is pretty important. Bitcoin CMEs, the previous all-time high of CMEs was over 20K, right? And take a look here. So CMEs, I mean, technically hold a little bit more weight than spot price. So spot price means you're buying and selling actual Bitcoin. CME is just the futures trading on larger, more, you know, institutionalized, more like traditional finance, where they trade on essentially IOUs. It's just an agreement, really. And it's not actual Bitcoin. So, but it still weighs a lot. So what happened? Well, you tried to hold it at this green line as support, fell below, did not use it as clear resistance on the way up, came back below again, and because you didn't use it as resistance, as long as you made a higher low, you had permission to make a higher high, which is what happened. Came back down, used it as support, crashed below it, then what happened? Let's zoom into this part right here. Look at this. And I'm on the 4 hour chart. Resistance. Low, lower low, barely a lower low. Resistance, lower low. Lower high, lower low on a wick basis, not on a closure basis. CME's closed. It's not moving. It won't open. I think it should still open on Sunday at 8 p.m. New York time. But here's the thing, though. Here is what I'm about to show you is the last little trick on, you know, when you might want to set an alert with what I'm about to show you. If the low that is behind me here, okay, is taken out, Bitcoin's going to accelerate down. It is a possibility that it dips below for a fake out, but not at this point. Not after this important line. Previous market cycle all-time high has been broken and used as support with lower lows and lower highs. So on CMEs, I'm on the 4 hour chart. And all you have to do to pull this up on your trading view is type this in and hit enter. BTC1 exclamation. 4 hour chart. Once this level right here, maybe. Once it's in this box, Bitcoin is on a ledge. It's on the, you know, edge of a cliff here, right? You're on a cliffhanger moment. Let me put a pin in it. Spot price, not so much. If spot price goes down to, you know, 19.4 or 19.3, it's not necessarily as significant. But when, you know, whenever this opens back up, you know, whether it's Sunday or Tuesday because of the holiday, if you see CMEs go below 19,330, it's probably going to accelerate. Big time. Big time. And let's see what that would look like on the spot price, okay, within the descending channel, 19,330, okay? And again, spot price will be moving. It trades 24/7, 365. So, you know, I just want you to see what it would look like on this chart. That is a little messy. There we go. All right, 19.33. Does it make sense on this descending channel? Let me zoom out and show you my channel here. Okay, see that? That's what Bitcoin's dealing with. It just was able to come out of the channel a little bit and has dropped right back into it and went below this origin line, has 13 years of price history, right? Well, technically this one doesn't because it's never been hit before before this bear market. The ones that run parallel to it up higher, like these ones you see me passing, okay, especially this one. This was the bear market bottom in the past. This channel here, and we're like 4 below it. All right. And I think most of my viewers have seen me do this before, but this is the channel we're looking at. So what would 13,330 look like on this channel? Well, let's put 19,330. Sorry. Close enough. That would be simply Bitcoin hitting this channel line right here. That's not even going down to the point of control. So by the time Bitcoin hits the point of control, it has a chance to blow through it. And from the things I showed you earlier, not the 2-day chart, but the 8-hour and the 4-hour, what do you think that would mean? You're going to be able to see that stuff happening. From what I showed you, it's all going to happen at the same time, right? But now you know if 19,330 doesn't hold up, okay, that's the next channel line down, right? But if you think you're like a badass trying to long this point of control, which sometimes I do for a counter trend trade to the opposite side, I'm not going to take that trade because I think it's going to accelerate through it and potentially, go down to the bottom of the damn channel. I mean, look, where would the bottom of this channel be? It would take out the previous lows at 17.5. This is 17.4 right here, folks. And that's a little too early. If it takes a little bit longer to get there, let's say September 5th, that makes a little more sense. But it's even lower. At 17.1. Does that make sense? Because of CMEs. All right. Now, it would accelerate down through this point of control with one exception. If Bitcoin price goes below 19,330 while CMEs are closed, which they close over the weekend, then, and it still comes down here, it actually does have a good chance to bounce. It really does, because CMEs are closed and CMEs hadn't gone below that point because they're not moving. They're still where they were on, Friday. So there is an exception to what I just said. If this horizontal at 19,330 and this channel line here is taken out over the weekend, then Bitcoin actually does have a decent chance to bounce over the weekend right at, let's see, somewhere like here at 18.8, 18.9, somewhere around there. 18, maybe as low as 18.7, but 18.9 to 18.7 in that $200 range. It has a pretty good chance to bounce, assuming CMEs are closed, because it happened over the weekend when CMEs aren't trading. And so all these things put together, you should know what to look at, what counts, how to front run signals, and just the status of what, of what's happening, the context. Bad closure, real bad closure. 2-day RSI and 2-day stochastics, it doesn't even give Bitcoin a chance to rock and roll up. This right here was a fake out, right? So your best case, like the thing that, is most likely for a good scenario over the weekend, is that Bitcoin hovers around this origin line and maybe has a spike up to get as high as something like, 20,200, maybe over the weekend. But to expect anything more than that over this weekend is, you probably shouldn't expect it. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. So therefore, trading to the upside is probably not that wise, because this is about as good as you're going to get if it doesn't go down. It's just going to go sideways on the origin line, which actually does happen quite a bit. Per my yesterday's video where I showed you, the 8-hour RSI was suggesting this could go sideways. But it would be a sideways less bullish. So it wouldn't be so much this direction like those two are. It'd be sideways, a less aggressive slope. It would just literally hover on this like a snake. Because 2-day RSI ain't there. CMEs are looking horrible. And so be careful over this weekend. Now you know the context. Go ahead and click this video right here if you want to see my last video where I described the 8-hour RSI, why I was kind of doubting myself there for the bearishness. And click this video right here if you haven't checked out my top most important Bitcoin videos and crypto videos I've ever made. It's a playlist. Go ahead and check that out. And remember, live chart. I'm going to leave the link in the description section if you want to check it out. We'll see you next time. You got Timified Worldwide.